Hello guys, welcome to my Luxury Daily Look channel. I'm your host today, Benny Jones, and I'm here to talk about well-being. So let's talk well-being. What is well-being and what's your understanding of well-being? Simply put, well-being is your ability to be able to take a moment, pause, reset, and prioritize yourself. And by that I mean prioritizing your well-being, because often we don't really think to prioritize ourselves or put ourselves first. We understand how busy life can get, and we also understand um, the fact that people just walk and walk and walk. While it's okay to do all of that, the famous saying goes, your health is wealth. So if health is wealth, it's the more reason why we really need to prioritize ourselves. It's often talked about when people say, oh, you need to have a work and life balance. But do we truly, in practical terms, have a work and life balance? Say you have a five to or a 9 to 5 job, and so you come back from work, you have your dinner, you might not have time for anything else in between, and of course you have to get to bed, and the cycle begins, the cycle starts again. So but in between those moments, how can you pause and reset and take time out to look after yourself? So this is what we're going to be discussing on this channel. It's how do we stop, pause, and have that reset. It's very important, especially in this climate where life just gets so busy. Life gets very busy that often we just forget that we even matter anymore, and what matters is going to work, having to think about paying the bills and whatever other issues going on in your life. But the one thing we don't tell ourselves is, how do I take care of myself? For instance, I used to be a lawyer, or I am still a lawyer, and the one thing I really found that was a key issue for me was the fact that I had no work and life balance. And I often found myself, having to go to work, come back home, and still drag work with me to home. And in the moment where I'm supposed to stop, have a reset and just chill, I just find myself, I'm still walking through my legal files, getting myself again ready for work again the next day. And this just carried on and on and on. And there were a lot of other, aspects of my life that were, impacted, like my family life, having time, for the children, and you tend to feel the sense of irritability sometimes, where or you're just too tired, you don't want to attend to any other thing, children are nagging about, what they want to do, and all you do is, okay, you just throw money at them, or you go sort it out. You think money, solves all the problem. And it took me a while to actually sit back one day to think, this is not healthy. It's not a healthy way to live. And so it was from that moment I knew that I had to be very purposeful about prioritizing my well-being. It wasn't only that I was bringing my work home, but the fact that I found it was also affecting my my mental well-being, because all I ever had to think about was work and work and work. So without making that conscious effort to, reshape things, which is essentially what I had to do, was to make a very, I won't call it a difficult decision, but I had to make that decision. And the decision was to either stop, um, or give up my career at that stage, or just somehow in between still find that work balance. But for me, after looking at all the factors, I still felt that there wasn't any way that I can have that reset that I truly need without taking a step away from my legal career. As tough as that decision was, I think it was the best decision I've ever taken. It was the best decision of my life. And that completely changed where I am. It changed how I feel. It changed my relationship with my children, my family, and even a relationship with myself, because now I could sleep better. Now I had time to even have a little pamper, and unwind time, and me time. I could actually sit down and watch my favorite movies, catch on all the seasons of the Kardashians that I've missed. And it started becoming normal again. It started becoming real, that this is how life should be, and not the other life that I was living. As much as it sounded great, yes, it's cool, you go out, or you're a lawyer, you're solving problems, solving other people's problems, but I feel I had bigger problems to solve, and that problem was myself, my sanity, and my well-being. So those elements were definitely missing. And yeah, it's also, you don't see it. It's the much later impact of that lifestyle that you pay gravely for, much later in your life, because it's a compilation of stress. It keeps building up, and it gets bigger and bigger until you get to the point of no return. And with stress, comes a lot of stress. It's a lot of other health factors. You can attract a lot of or bring on a lot of other health issues, and you start getting even simple things like headaches, constant headaches, and you're wondering, why am I getting all these headaches? Why is and yeah, it's just gradual. It just builds up. So this is why we're here to have this conversation about how we truly, truly should prioritize our well-being. It's not well talked about. It's always about, oh yes, we are constantly on that treadmill, go, 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 go. Yes, while you go, also in that going should be moments, to be able to pause, to be able to reset, and be able to prioritize your well-being. Um, yeah, so we will be discussing a lot of other factors, and even just giving you tips on what you can do, even as professionals, to truly have that work and life balance that is much preached about, much talked about on paper, but never in a practical sense. So we'll be engaging with you to let you know what are those practical steps you can take in order to prioritize your well-being. So now we look forward to our next episode. We will be talking about the basic steps to take, that can, and what you can do in order to prioritize your well-being. And if you haven't already done so, please press the subscribe button and follow us, and like our channel and share the word, and invite other colleagues to join our well-being channel while we discuss factors surrounding your lack of well-being. So I look forward to seeing you in our next episode. I hope you have a great rest of your day. See you soon.